Hi, friends. I'm your old pal, Papa Dale, once again. I'm a retired pastor, teacher, theologian, and professor with over 50 years of service to the Lord Jesus Christ. My name is Dale Warren. Professionally, I'm known in my writings and lectures as D.A. Warren, but my friends just call me Papa Dale, and you can call me Papa Dale. You can see the details of my testimony, family, education, and ministry experience on other videos on this playlist. But for now, let's just get right into today's topic, which is the Proverbs. Now, this is lecture number 11, Proverbs. This is a lecture on the JHI, the Jan Hus BA in Biblical Literature lecture series. And so let's move right into it. Proverb literature in the Bible, primarily found in the Book of Proverbs, other places too, but mostly in the Book of Proverbs, represents one of the most distinct forms of wisdom literature. It consists of short, pithy statements or maxims that offer moral and ethical guidance for daily living. Proverbs distill practical experience and divine wisdom into brief, memorable sayings that guide people toward righteous and successful living. The Book of Proverbs. The Book of Proverbs, traditionally attributed to King Solomon, contains a collection of wise sayings, instructions, and insights. While Solomon is credited with much of its content, some sections are attributed to other sources, including Agur, Proverbs number 30, and Lemuel, Proverbs 31. The book is divided into several sections. Chapters 1 through 9, which is primarily focuses on wisdom and folly contrasted as paths of life. Number 2, chapters 10 through chapter 22:16. These are specifically Proverbs of Solomon, short, independent sayings. Number 3, chapters 22:17 through 24. Well, let me do that again. Chapters 22:17 through 24:34. Sayings of the wise. Number 4, chapters 25 through chapter 29, more Proverbs of Solomon, compiled by the men of King Hezekiah. Number 5, chapters 30 and 31, the sayings of Agur and King Lemuel, including the poem about the virtuous woman. Well, the themes and characteristics of Proverbs literature include the fear of the Lord. Central to the book of Proverbs is the assertion that wisdom begins with the fear of the Lord, Proverbs 1:7 and 9:10. This fear is not just terror or dread, but deep respect, reverence, and submission to God's authority and moral order. It is the foundation upon which all wisdom and ethical behavior are built. One of my favorite proverbs, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Then, second, under themes and characteristics of proverb literature, practical and moral guidance. Proverbs addresses a wide range of everyday concerns, such as relationships, speech, work, money, and integrity. It offers advice on how to live wisely, deal with others fairly, and conduct oneself with humility and honesty. Other themes and characteristics: contrast between wisdom and folly. A major theme in Proverbs is the contrast between the way of the wise and the way of the fool. Wisdom is portrayed as something that leads to life, prosperity, and honor, while folly leads to destruction, shame, and death. For example, the wise inherit honor, but fools get only shame, Proverbs 3:35. Well, other themes and characteristics. The value of hard work and diligence. Proverbs extols the virtue of hard work and warns against laziness. Diligence leads to success and prosperity, while laziness brings poverty and hardship. Example: go to the ant, you sluggard, consider its ways and be wise. Proverbs 6:6. So we're dealing with themes and characteristics of Proverbs. And another one is the power of speech. Proverbs pays special attention to the power of words. Speech can be a source of life and healing, or speech can bring about harm and destruction. Wise people speak thoughtfully and with restraint, while fools speak recklessly. Example: the tongue has the power of life and death, and those who love it will eat its fruit. Proverbs 18:21. Themes and characteristics continued. Relationships and community. Proverbs teaches the importance of treating others with respect, fairness, and kindness. Whether in friendships, family, or business dealings, relationships should be governed by wisdom, integrity, and love. For example, Proverbs 17:17 says, "A friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for a time of adversity." And then another theme and characteristic is the contrast of discipline and correction. Discipline and correction are viewed as essential for growth in wisdom. Proverbs encourages openness to instruction and rebuke as a means of developing character and avoiding the pitfalls of foolishness. For example, here's a proverb: whoever loves discipline loves knowledge, but whoever hates correction is stupid. Proverbs 12:1. So, another theme and characteristic: wealth and generosity. Proverbs offers balanced counsel on wealth, stressing both the value of hard work and integrity in acquiring wealth, and the importance of generosity and care for the poor. Wealth is seen as pleasing, but it should be used wisely and generously. For example, one person gives freely, yet gains even more. Another withholds unduly, but comes to poverty. Proverbs 11:24. Other themes and characteristics juxtapose justice and fairness. Justice is a key virtue in Proverbs. The book advocates for fairness in business dealings, honesty in the courts, and compassion towards the vulnerable. God is seen as a just judge who rewards righteousness and punishes wickedness. For example, the Lord detests dishonest scales, but accurate weights find favor with him. Proverbs 11:1. Another theme: the role of the family. Proverbs emphasizes the importance of family relationships, especially the role of parents in teaching their children wisdom, and the child's responsibility to honor and obey their parents. A family grounded in wisdom is seen as a source of strength and stability. Here's an example: listen, my son, to your father's instruction, and do not forsake your mother's teaching. Proverbs 1:8. Oh, I like that first part. Listen, my son, to your father's instruction. Dad, burn it. Listen up. Another theme: the virtuous woman. The final chapter of Proverbs 31, verses 10 through 31, describes the virtuous woman. Well-known proverb. This is a model of wisdom and diligence and generosity and fear of the Lord, reverence, respect for the Lord. She is praised for her industriousness and care for her household, and her kindness towards the needy. This passage is often celebrated as an ideal for godly women. Here's the example. Charm is deceptive and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Proverbs 31:30. So let's look at the structure of Proverbs types. We have antithetical proverbs. These proverbs contrast two opposing ideas, often using the words but or yet to highlight the difference between wisdom and folly, righteousness and wickedness. For example, the wise store up knowledge, but the mouth of a fool invites ruin. Proverbs 10:14. Then there are comparative proverbs. We're dealing with proverb types now. We talked about antithetical proverbs. Now this is comparative proverbs. These proverbs compare one thing to another, often using words like better than or like to illustrate a moral truth. For example, better a small serving of vegetables with love than a fattened calf with hatred. Proverbs 15:17. There are a lot of men I know that would argue against that. They'd rather have the beef. Give me the meat. But we have to learn to think the way God thinks. Better a small serving of vegetables with love. And the teaching here is love is way more important than anything associated with hatred. So let's get to the didactic proverbs. These proverbs teach by offering direct instruction, encouraging specific behavior or attitudes that align with wisdom. Example, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not unto your own understanding. Proverbs 3:5. This proverb is so important to me. I make it my life verse, one of them at least. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. The next verse says, in all your ways, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not to your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths. Well, let's look at numerical sayings next. Some proverbs use numbers to list things that share a common theme, often pointing out life's mysteries or repeating patterns. For example, there are 6 things the Lord hates, 7 that are detestable to him. Well, which is it, 6 or 7? Well, it's both. By going the extra mile with 7, it's just an overemphasis of the truth of what he's trying to say. Then there are figurative proverbs. These proverbs use vivid imagery or metaphors to make their point. They often liken one thing to another to reveal an underlying truth. For example, like a gold ring in a pig's snout. Ooh, what an ugly image that is. Like a gold ring in a pig's snout is a beautiful woman who shows no discretion. Proverbs 11:22. Well, let's look at some theological insights from Proverbs. For example, this is a critical one, God's sovereignty. Proverbs acknowledges God's control over everything, over the world, including human affairs, not just broad human affairs. He has control over your affairs. While people are encouraged to make wise decisions, they must also recognize that God's will ultimately prevails. Example, in their hearts, humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps. Proverbs 16:9. And we're talking about theological insights, and here we have human responsibility. Wisdom is something to be actively pursued. Proverbs teaches that individuals must seek wisdom and live in a way that aligns with God's design for life. The choices people make, whether to follow wisdom or folly, have real consequences. For example, the prudent see danger and take refuge, but the simple keep going and pay the penalty. So, more theological insights. Moral order. Proverbs reflects a belief in moral order to the universe. That order includes the idea that God's priority of purpose is eternal. It is His expectation of us that we trust Him in His eternal love and benevolence towards us. Our good behavior is often rewarded with success, peace, and long life, and bad behavior often leads to ruin and destruction. But not always. Why is that? Because in God's mind, top of mind for Him is our eternal well-being, and what we think is our well-being is temporal. His emphasis is what is happening to us for our eternal well-being. This is the penultimate expression of complete trust in the Lord. This principle, I got my head of myself, but not always is where I was. This idea reflects the principle of retribution, the eternal implications of which are always active. The temporal implications are not always active. Proverbs acknowledges this, which other wisdom books like Job and Ecclesiastes explore more deeply. For example, Job says, "Though he slay me, yet will I trust in him." Job 13:15. You see, this is the highest expression of complete trust in the Lord. We may not see what He's doing in our lives. We may not understand the ultimate end of things, but we trust Him. The conclusion to this exploration or introduction to Proverbs literature is this: the proverb literature in the Bible, particularly the Book of Proverbs, is a treasure trove of wisdom, offering insights into how to live a godly, ethical, and fulfilling life. Its teachings on the fear of the Lord and the power of words, the importance of diligence, and the pursuit of justice remain as relevant today as when they were written. Proverbs encourages readers to seek wisdom, to live in harmony with God's created order, and to cultivate virtues that lead to a life of righteousness and peace. This has been your old pal, Papa Dale, in the year 2024. If you have comments, questions, or prayer requests, you can leave them in the comments section below. And so, as always, I wish for you and pray for you that you will be well and be blessed.